Twinkle, twinkle, little star,
Chubby
how
chicks,
I wonder
dimple
what
cheek.
you are. Johnny, Johnny,
Yes,
Papa,
Papa.
let's see. Have you any wool?
X, Y,
Yes,
Z.
butter on your bread.
Wash your hands
If you don't
daily.
like it, better
Brush your teeth
daily.
2020, a student's bone to pick.
Have you seen the March 2020 film Angrezi Medium starring late Irfan Khan and Radhika Madan? Just replace the answer the father gives to his daughter as the film unfolds, and the latter asked him, when will they go to London or foreign countries? You won't believe it, this was exactly the same question I asked my father, and the answer would be after 10th. Well, if you are from a typical Indian family, you will relate to the fantasy and the utmost significance we give to a student's 10th grade. It's traditionally been inscribed in the rule book of parenting that everything can be done only after 10th. Similarly, even I was promised a full list of things to have after my 10th grade. Though many were fulfilled before that, but that was my case. So, as the promise of crossing boundaries was given after 10th, you can envision how desperate I would be to finish my 10th and excited to be in 10th standard. And like every good student, I had my plan in my place. My counselor had to go perfect, and the plan was to be on toes from day one. But here's when the tables turned. It was hardly 4 days that I had begun my 10th class with new classmates, new teachers, new feeling, rats running inside our stomach because we knew a lot was coming up. Let's be honest. The feeling of not having any seniors, just you and your bunch of friends as the eldest people in the school, is a feeling like you can rule the world. That was exactly what we were expecting. Hardly did we know what was coming up. And boom! Schools are shut, colleges are shut, parents at home working, people are dying, and we having no clue of what is happening around us. Fear, tense, and scared at its peak, and I could clearly see my 10th standard, my last year of school, being shattered away. We waited for a week, 21 days. No change, no recoveries, no announcements. After wasting a whole month in overthinking, it was a hello to Zoom, FaceTimes, video calls, long screen hours, and of course, Wi-Fi issues. Within like couple of weeks, I had a proper schedule to commence my table. Wake up at this time, exercise at this time, do this lecture, that lecture, this thing to do, that thing to do, this doubt, that query, and on and on and on. The year I wanted to embrace my whole life was indeed becoming the most horrid and unforgettable year. This was not the plan. This was not how my 10th had to go. But this was the reality, and like all of you, I had to accept it. Things then started falling in place just in an online medium. Slowly and steadily, we found solutions to all the restrictions we thought then they were. This was when I realized that nothing can stop us what come may. The world will not stop, the time will not stop, the cycle will just go on. Having my life and my breath in place, I was content. This phase taught us to value our lives and the times we'll have. You never know what is coming tomorrow. So while the world was balancing between life and death, we students were juggling with that reduced portion. OMG, that was a whole roller coaster. With phone calls, confirmations, long messages and pictures just to ask if this particular page is in the reduced syllabus or not. To get all that in place, we took another decade. With online exams, unambiguous cheating, new set of toppers evolving, and our teachers whimpering for not being able to share the screens. It was awful and swamped too. Problems like depression, anxiety, overthinking, body fatigue, chashmas, headaches, and obesity were obvious reasons of such circumstances. It was arduous for us to cope up with our studies within knowing the subversive outside. Difficult to keep up the mood every time we sat to study. I was upset. I lost my writing practice. The josh I had initially had faded away. I no more felt like waking up, just wanted to lay on my bed all day. By then, I'm sure, We all were exhausted. All that negativity very obviously had hindered our studies and the environment we deserve to have. Lockdowns after lockdowns after lockdowns. On the contrary, we all have had our share of that honeymoon period, somewhere between November to January in India, when things began unlocking and engines have just started. We finally got to step out of our houses, of course with masks and sanitizers. Better something than nothing, we got to visit our school. Then there was a wave of practicals, notebooks, assignments, internals, prelims, and soon we were going to have a farewell. You know how important it is? That euphoria of choosing the best outfit, altering your saris and blouses, speeches, awards, and so on. Little did we know what was coming. Just when we began to believe that things were getting normal, boom! India hit by the second wave of coronavirus. This is not expected from 2021. Living a normal life had become nostalgic. After swimming half of the ocean, how would you feel when someone calls you back to the shore? It's equivalent to all your efforts, time, and focus flowing down the fall. I was proud of myself that I survived 2020 and my 10th year. Timetables was out. Board exams were declared to be offline. We all were set to fight the final battle. Just then we got the news that they were unsure. Exams are deferred. And after a lengthening debate, 10th board exams were cancelled. Sanika says, with all due respect to the world, we are sorry for what's happening, but we are not sorry for being students. Of how COVID-19 has affected the students and the educational system in a whole is another chapter. But what makes this year unforgettable that we don't know when this chapter will end. This will prove to be the longest and the toughest chapter mankind ever read. So after all, between a rock and a hard place game, what do you expect from a man than to bury his head into the sand? I call myself a 10th pass, but still, back to the drawing board. I'm not free yet. I'm still figuring out my 11th grade, my 12th standard, career and future plans. Situations say that things will not normalize at least for now, especially in India. So while my dad's after 10th promises remain to be uncertain, what we can do is be grateful for what we have, that we are safe, we have roof above us, and we have food in our plates. Moreover, let's come forward and extend this hand of service and responsibility. That will stand to be significant. Thank you so much for listening to my rant and rave. Do subscribe to my channel and don't forget to spark like you own this universe.